Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Life and Style this Wednesday. You know it's relationships we talk about every Wednesday. So this is Relationship Wednesday. I'm your host, Pastor Chris Atemo. The drill is that we always begin with Mandate, where I'll be talking to the men. Today we've got a very interesting topic. We're talking matters cross-cultural relationships. Do they work? And I'd like to hear your views and your thoughts, your opinions. So you know that you get onto Twitter, you get onto social media, Facebook and Instagram. The hashtag is KTN Life and Style. If you don't know our platforms and you'd like to follow at KTN Life_Style, that is both for Twitter and for Instagram. And then KTN Life and Style, that's our Facebook page. You might go as well and like it. 22840 is our text message number. And then after Mandate, we will be we bring in the ladies. They're waiting right now. They're already in the studio. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Yeah, they're waiting to come in on that segment that we call Retake. In Retake, the men who have been on Mandate are joined by these beautiful ladies, and then we talk about what we spoke on Monday. Then we will have us, Pastor Chris, at the end, but before that, we've got Style My Wife, Style My Hubby with Crystal Okusa. So we're going to go straight into our discussion today, cross-cultural relationships and marriages and whether they do work. What are your thoughts? Keep tweeting, keep the conversation going on Twitter and on all our social media platforms. I've got with me right here on Monday 3 gentlemen, and I'm going to get them to just introduce themselves and then we get on with the topic today, beginning from my father's left.
Hi viewers, my name is Gary Wainaina. I'm a gospel musician and a husband to 1 wife, and I have 1 daughter.
All right.
My name is David Boggs. Hello, everyone. I'm from the U.S. originally, but I've lived in Kenya for a number of years now. I'm also married to 1 wife and have 1 daughter. I'm a pastor with Nairobi Chapel, Karen. And so it's a new church of Nairobi Chapel that we started last year. So that's what I do.
All right. And you both, of course, everybody here is in a cross-cultural marriage. Then there is this gentleman quite close to me here.
Yes. Hi, viewers. My name is Joseph Njenga. I'm an advocate. I'm also an MC for wedding and corporate events.
All right.
I'm married, and I have a daughter and a son joining us soon.
So you all started with daughters. Is it something with the fact that when you cross cultures, do you start with daughters?
No, I guess in our case.
It's the trend.
Yeah.
All right. Gary, you were married to 1 wife, yes. But
Yes.
where is she from?
She was born in Romania, but
Wow.
then she was adopted to a family in the United States. So all her life she's lived in the States. So she's a citizen of the United States.
So just by herself, she's a cross-cultural,
Yeah.
she's Romanian and then has lived in the U.S.
Yes.
Yeah. So how's that for you,
It's amazing to actually experience a different culture.
Right.
And they normally say the cow doesn't enjoy the grass of its the place of the home. So I'm happy to enjoy this relationship, and it's working.
Okay. If I may just throw it, do cross-cultural relationships work?
They do.
They do?
We are evidence that it works.
Yeah, I would say yes. They do.
And our babies are evidence, more evidence.
They do.
Well, babies are evidence of something else. Because there's people who relate and have children and
It's
go,
true. It's true.
Children is not evidence that a relationship works.
Of a good relationship.
Yeah, yeah. But what are those things that, if somebody is sitting out over there and they're thinking that they're being drawn towards a cross-cultural relationship, what are those things that you think somebody needs to look out for, David?
I think the motivation for being in a cross-cultural relationship is one of the things that I would look out for. Yeah. I mean, I've had friends who I feel like their main desire is just to be in a cross-cultural relationship. And I think for me that can sometimes be an area of concern. Yeah. I mean, I think when you go into a relationship, the things you're looking for, things like compatibility in values, the goals you have, you know, the desires you have for a family and what you want to do. I think that's the most important criteria.
Right.
And I think the ideal is that a relationship should be neutral in terms of where you're from, race, color, ethnicity. And so I get a little, I don't know, I get a little hesitant when people are so bent and being in a cross-cultural.
Yeah, so if you meet somebody, you know, I'm married though, but if I was single, and I'm just thinking that, you know, I'm only attracted to Caucasians.
Right.
Are there people who are like that, who are only attracted to Caucasians, or you think it's just a mentality or the motivation, as you say?
I think it can be both. I mean, attraction definitely can be there. I think some people do have that specific attraction, which is not wrong. I mean, you know, being attracted to, you know, a particular kind of person is not wrong. But I think it can be, I think sometimes it can overwhelm other considerations that are more important.
Okay. All right. Joe,
Yes.
your cross-cultural is local.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah. Does that make it easier than for David and for Gary, who have crossed nations to get their spouses? Does it make it easier?
I don't think so. My wife is Luo. I'm Kikuyu.
All right.
And for us, we chose not to make it an issue.
Okay.
When we were dating, it was never an issue. I loved her for who she was. I loved her character, her persona, and to date I still love her.
Right.
It didn't make any difference that it was from a different culture. For us, we never made it an issue.
Okay.
And we are enjoying it, and we are having fun about it. And I think the same probably issues they go through are more or less what we go through. And I think for us, it's more to do with the acceptance by the society.
Because I was going to come to that. You may be okay with your spouse. How do you deal with the people around you? Family, friends, your fraternity. How do you deal with the people around you?
For me, I think I would say our parents played a very big role for us. They gave us full support. They knew about us because we dated for close to about 7 years. Our parents knew us very well.
That's really long.
Yeah, it was a long time.
That's a long time.
That lady had patience. Yes, she had a lot of patience, but we became friends. And so I have a best friend in my wife.
All right.
And our parents knew us very well. They gave us support. Sometimes relatives would come in and try and, are you doing the right thing? You know, at times our parents had to come in and step and basically tells the naysayers to just keep off. And the support from our parents was really a pillar for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But how about you? You know, so this is different nations, different nationalities, completely, everything is completely different, you know. For them, probably just a few things here and there, but they would share national language. They share the national space. But for you, if I may just dig a bit deeper, like David, you know, so you've got your fraternity, and then they're thinking, why would you go for an African girl? Or Gary, you know, they'll be thinking, so why would you go out? Will she come in? Will she take care of the chores in the house? Is she going to be a good daughter-in-law or something? How do you handle that? Or you didn't face that?
We have different notions, especially from our parents, because their generation is kind of different from ours.
Yeah.
And especially when I told my mom that I'm dating a girl. First of all, we met in 2009. So when she came to Kenya and then she went back to the States. So we dated online for like 4 years. So, and I used to tell my mom,
I'm going to have you back here to talk about that online thing.
That's a long time. 4 years.
4 years.
Okay.
So my mom didn't understand how it works on Facebook, and
I don't understand. I don't.
It works well. You can see we're here. So and sometimes she was, because most of them they think like people from the West, they are not very like they don't sustain their marriage for long. Divorce is very common there. So. She was like, no, are you sure you're going to stay? You know, them, they fear the divorce. If you're Christian, they fear divorce very much.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and, but as we kept on pushing, she realized, this is real. This is real. And when she came back in 2014, she was like, now I see it was real.
It's genuine.
And also there is a different perspective also from different people, because they feel like, hey, you are married to a mzungu, eh? Now you guys, you have a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. So people have different
perspectives. That's what David was talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes what people would think, the motivation.
The motivation behind the relationship.
Yeah. So somebody else may think, because Gary got this lady, if I do the same, I'm going to find my way of escape out of struggles, you know.
Yeah. And we, like for me personally, I find a lot of requests that show me, connect me to some mzungu somewhere. So I'm like, I'm not a connector.
Right. I've had people ask me that.
God has a person for everyone. If yours is not a mzungu, then you have somewhere, maybe Meru, somewhere else.
Yeah. I think for me, in terms of opposition, with my family and my close friends, I've had very, very little opposition, hardly any.
Okay.
And so that's been very helpful. I mean, I know there are circles and there are people who are opposed to that kind of relationship, that kind of marriage. But in my life, I've not experienced that. I mean, I've experienced a little bit of what you're saying, pressure, maybe from, I don't know, distant members of the family, more extended relatives and stuff, in terms of connections to the U.S., money, things like that. But I've had very little opposition, at least in our case. I've had very little opposition to the relationship itself.
Right.
And I think that's been helpful. It makes it, I've appreciated that support.
Okay. I remember one case when we were preparing our wedding, and I went to one older person for support for my wedding, and she looked at my card and she saw it's a mzungu. She was like, the guy was like, no, I'm not supporting you. I have 3 neighbors. Girls, they have jobs, nice cars, and they're single. Yeah. You've not seen them. You're giving me, no, I'll not support that. So I was like, okay. Yeah. So it depends with persona. Some people.
But what are the chances? You know, you're sitting over here. You've got faith base because you're a gospel musician. He's a pastor. You've got a faith base. What are the chances, though? Just ordinary people who don't have their base in the Bible. What are the chances of cross-cultural marriages working? And I want to throw that to Joseph.
I think that there's so many things that attract us to our would-be wives or partners. And unless you purpose to make it an issue, then it will be an issue. I think, like I said, for us, it was never an issue from the onset. I never raised it up. I never asked her for, what's your second name? It was never an issue. We liked each other. We moved along. So I think it doesn't really matter. I'm also born again. And I don't think that maybe my religious background played a role in all this. I think at the end of it all, God is in control. He's the one who has your pages.
That's the background that's the role it plays, because you think God is in control. So that's the role it plays. Because there's some people, for example, you know, if there is no fear of God, if there is no guidance in Scripture where you know what a role of a man is, what the role of a woman is, that you don't look at whether there is Greek or Hebrew, you know, there's neither Jew nor the Gentile or something like that. And people who are now not guided by the Bible, they're guided by traditions, they're guided by certain family cultures. That's what I'm talking about, where you don't share faith. You don't use the Bible as the basis of your lifestyle. So these people believe in this. When something happens, we do this. Yet from your side, you think, no, we don't do that. That's what I'm asking now. When you've got those contradictions from the culture, what are the chances of that surviving, generally?
I think I would say, my belief is most of the time, a cross-cultural relationship is not significantly different than any other relationship.
All right.
And I think the factors that could lead a relationship to end, I mean, incompatibility, unforgiveness, I mean, all the various unfaithfulness, all the various issues, I think they're present equally. Okay. I think there are aspects in which a cross-cultural relationship could be slightly more difficult. I think that the further apart you are in terms of background, in terms of worldview, I think the harder a relationship is, generally. You know, they say opposites attract. I think most of the time that's not really true. Right. Like, it's similarities that attract. I mean, yes, you can have some opposition. There's differences, of course.
Okay.
But I think any relationship can have a hard time.
All right. Gary, you've got a Caucasian wife.
Yes.
How easy is it for her to submit?
Um,
All right, this is an American girl. You know, she's been trained. That's my presupposition. She'll confirm that later on retake. But she's been trained to think. You know, you make up your mind. Freedom. Whatever they're very democratic. Your opinion matters. You can't just run over me through with decisions. How does that work?
First of all, my wife has grown in a home that the mother is career person. So, but I would congratulate her. She does the very best. She's still in learning process. Even me, I'm still in a learning process. But she does very well, considering that the things that we expect of women here is different from what the women there do. Is kind of different. But for a man also, you have to leave your very strictness of our culture. Like, men are not supposed to go to the kitchen. Men are not supposed to do this and that. Those ones, if you keep that culture in this, you have to create your own new culture that works for you. There are some good things with African culture. You bring them to your marriage. There are some bad things or good things also from the Western. You can either choose to bring or live. So what builds your marriage is what you keep.
So the two of you have got to just craft a very different culture.
Yeah, it's now.
You got to set up your own set of rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was really going to ask that. You know, how the man then remains in the lead, how people play the different roles, and you've talked about, you know, now sometimes you got to go into the kitchen or something. Wouldn't sometimes people think in such a case, Joseph, it may not be your case, but just generally, as in the case of Gary, wouldn't certain things like that cause people to feel like this man has been sat on ever since he got married to, and so the wife is the one who is funding everything, the assumption again, because she's from abroad, and so people will feel like he's being sat on.
I think it's a fallacy. I think for some of people, they may believe that if a man is seen in the kitchen, then amekaliwa. Yes. And I think that's a wrong perspective. Marriage for us is a shared responsibility. We have to meet. I bring my A game, she brings her A game. I give my 100%, she gives her 100%. And we have to help one another. So I think even for us, there are times when I have to do some house chores that ideally in a man's world, they look like they are a lady's duties. But I think you have to agree, you have to speak one language with your wife. You can't bring probably, if you have to be open. And it doesn't have anything to do with the culture. I think that's just, you have to purpose with your wife, help each other. One day she'll be sick, what will you do? You have to help her.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
And also I think it's romantic, not just about when she's sick. It's romantic for you to provide, to go to the kitchen. It's very nice. Because I realize.
So what about the kind of men who are not romantic? You know, can they survive? Can they survive?
Yes, they can.
Are there certain things, David, that are pronounced in certain cultures that are not? For example, the traditional African, you know, we didn't grow up seeing our parents showing affection to one another. Yeah. In fact, you do that, they say that is an African.
Yeah.
You know, it's not African.
Right.
Then from where you were born, you know, that's very open.
Yeah.
You know, it's not even a big deal.
Right.
So here I am, I've fallen in love with a girl from the West, and I'm genuinely in love.
Right.
But it is not in me to show affection.
Do that, yeah. It's just very natural. Yeah, I think if you have a very traditional Kenyan coming from that background and a very progressive American, I think the possibility of clashes or disagreements are higher. I don't think I'd necessarily say the relationship is bound to fail. I think even in that case, a relationship can still work if they're committed to it, if they work it out, if they talk openly about the issues they have. I think even that relationship can survive. I think, as I said, it's harder I mean, the potential for that disagreement is harder.
Okay.
I know for me, I mean, I've gotten in trouble for going to the kitchen in certain places, and then she said, no, you can't do that, don't do that. and I mean, my belief in marriage is, you know, in terms of chores, in terms of childcare, in terms of things like that, that there should be equality as much as possible. That it shouldn't be the domain of the woman. The woman takes care of that, and then I sit, I read my newspaper, I do whatever. She does everything else. I mean, you know, my culture growing up was very different.
Yeah.
That doing the dishes is not a feminine thing. Like working in the kitchen, cooking is not a feminine thing. For me, it was anyone did that. We all had to do that.
Okay. So what food do you cook when you're coming from all across, Joe?
In fact, funny enough, before I met my wife, I used to think I eat fish very well. Until one day when we went out and so we were having dinner and I ordered for fish. And after I ate, she told me, never again eat fish like that. So I think it's a learning process. For us, there are things I have had to teach her. From my background, I was brought up in a cosmopolitan area. It was cross-cultural, completely. My sister is married to Luya, as in we've crossed all over the place. So for us, it's easy. So you realize that I learned so much. For example, I had to teach her how to cook ugali the way I want.
Okay.
Because I lived with the Luyas. The Luyas know how to cook ugali. So, and I think that helped her. So in our house, I think we basically eat
everything.
Everything. I don't think there's something that she told me, this one I can't do. She's willing to learn, and where I can, I teach her. She's a very good friend to my mom, so I know once in a while when they meet up, they will probably cook together. So she's learning a lot. I'm also trying to learn 1, 2, 3 things that I can cook. So she teaches me a few things.
All right. Coming to socialization, and we're just about to take a break, then we get on with the ladies and retake. How do you choose places that you want to go? Do you have to consider how you will feel over there, David, or how your wife will feel over there, Gary? So how do you choose where you want to go? Because I know that there is a couple that came in, and the man was from Europe, the lady Kenyan, and they came to our church, stayed a little bit, and he said, you know what, I'm the only white man in here, and pulled out. So how do you choose the places that you need to go?
Wow. For me, I think I choose the place where my wife enjoys.
Okay.
Because, especially, like for example, we went to my up country and we were with my wife and like 30 children followed her. Muzungu, Muzungu, Muzungu. And she was like, am I Jesus or what? Why are you following me? So she didn't understand. So I choose where she can enjoy more and where she can find her. If it's a restaurant, I will learn myself. I will learn. These restaurants I didn't used to go, but with her, I have to make sure she's the one who enjoys, because if she enjoys, I'm happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I think for us, I think many of the places we enjoy, we both enjoy. I think, you know, since I have been in Kenya for a while, I mean, I think I don't feel quite as, I don't know, out of place, quite as uncomfortable in some of those settings.
Okay.
But I think we try to find the place where we both enjoy, where we both feel comfortable, we both feel at home. You know, say with friends or people we spend a lot of time with. It's the people we both connect with.
Okay. So your parting thoughts on mandate. For the men who are watching out over there, what would you tell them about cross-cultural relationships? Do they work, or what should they look out for? Beginning with you, Gary, then we come all the way and we take a break. 30 seconds each.
It works. As you can see, it works. And it's good to change your... If God allows you, it's good to change the background of your family. If all people are black, at least have Muzungu kids. Yeah, that's my parting shot.
All right.
I think I would say for anyone who's looking to get into a relationship, I mean, cross-cultural relationships definitely can work. They can be very healthy, very happy, very meaningful. But look at the deepest things. I mean, look at the values they have. Figure out, what do you want to do with your life? Like, what is your purpose? What's your significance? And how can you find someone who can partner with you on that? Someone you'd be compatible with in terms of your goals, your values. And I think that any other consideration, color, anything else, should be a secondary consideration. So that's what I'd say. That's my parting shot.
Joseph.
Well, for me, I would say we are evidence that cross-cultural marriages work. I think if you are contemplating or if you doubt it, there's nothing new under the sun. We are evidence that it works. I would just urge you to don't make it an issue.
Okay.
Love her, love each other, yeah, and it will work out.
All right, I need to hear your views, so keep on tweeting. KTN Life and Style is the hashtag. Remember to follow our social media platforms at KTN Life_Style. That is both for Twitter and Instagram, and KTN Life and Style Facebook, like our page. 22840 is our text message number. If you want to be part of the panel, if you want to come in and just be part of what we are doing, write us an email on lifeandstyle@standardmedia.co.ke. The and is a symbol, lifeandstyle@standardmedia.co.ke. We take this short break and come back with retake when the ladies join us, and I want to hear whether these men were telling me the truth. So don't go anywhere.
Each culture is equally valid. And I feel like that's an important thing to think, that my culture is just as valid as his culture. And there's value in both cultures. Each culture has weaknesses that need to be examined and dealt with, but each culture also has strengths. And if you're going to be in a cross-cultural relationship, you need to figure out how to harness the strengths of both cultures for the sake of your relationship.